welcome to media engagement towards the Ondo State Governorship election organized by International Press Center, that's IPC, and SEMESO, which is Center for Media and Society. And with me today, I've got Dr. Akimbulu, the Executive Director, Center for Media and Society. It's nice to have you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers.
Yes, and also with us is Mr. Lanre Arugundade, the Executive Director, International Press Center. It's nice to have you.
Thank you very much.
All right, for some time now, for some days, you've been in the state having several media engagements and all of that. What exactly is your mission? What do you set to achieve through this, Doctor?
Thank you very much. The upcoming election, that's the governorship election coming up in Ondo State in November. It's on the 16th of November. It's a very, very important one. And we believe that the people of Ondo State desire a well-conducted election, and they desire important outcomes, that is, appropriate outcomes from that election. So, as part of our work activities, the two organizations, we've been in touch with our colleagues and in consultation with them over time. We have seen that in the past, they have done a good job covering the elections, providing voter education for previous elections. But in this election, we can see that there are new issues. Every election comes with its own uniqueness, with new issues and new opportunities, so to speak. And we then had an understanding that we have to sit down to have interactions so that we look at those issues in this election and then hold conversations on how to deliver improved coverage of these elections, deliver improved voter education during this election, so that at the end of the day, a credible election will have been conducted, and the people of Ondo State and other stakeholders will be happy that we've had a good election.
All right, you mentioned the new issues arising. What are the new issues that you are focusing on?
Well, there are several. For example, there are new players, new faces, who are running for office. That's one issue, and then that comes with its own new dynamics, in the way political parties, have been engaging the process. Those are things, we have to look at. Electoral Act and other instruments, that guide the conduct of elections are in place, and they have to be applied. We want to see how they will be applied at this time coming after, the general elections of 2023. Issues that have been coming up in elections in other places, issues of vote trading, for example. Okay. We want to see how the media will deal with some like the Boko 7. We don't want to see and buy in an election like this. It's important, to look at issues like peaceful conduct of the elections. Those are issues, and these were some of the issues that we were looking at.
All right, Mr. Arugundade, you've also been active in these engagements for the past few days. A key part of your discourse in the past few days has focused on the need for all relevant stakeholders to perform their duties, and so that there will be the desired result as the outcome of the November 16th election, to make sure it's inclusive, free and fair, devoid of toxicity and all that. Can you please shed more light on this, on how this can be achieved?
Well, we think those objectives can be achieved if the critical stakeholders do their work very well. They partner with the media, and if the media holds them accountable. So we have had interaction with INEC, where they spoke extensively about their preparation, the PVCs that have not been collected, the new ones the journalists were given the number. The police, the first PRO was around, and she also spoke about their preparedness, the fact that they've even mapped possible violent or conflict areas, and they are putting mechanisms in place which they cannot disclose. We also had the Civil Defense Corps who participated at the National Orientation Agency, because one issue we saw is the fact that more enlightenment still has to be done. And along that line, we also told the journalists themselves that we need to be very, very familiar with the letters or the electoral acts so that we can educate the people. So what we're now asking the journalists to do is to follow up on those statements that they have made, particularly as we move towards the elections. Because citizens need credible information. And it's only when they open their doors to the media that the media can get that credible information. Otherwise, as usual, a lot of things will be flying around on social media. But the conventional media, the print brokers, they are the ones who are in the position to talk to people in INEC, talk to people in police, and give accurate information for the citizens. So we emphasize that a lot. And we also emphasize that we should try and set the people's agenda. You know, what do the people of Ondo State want? The women, the young people, the students, the farmers, what do they want the next governor to do for them? These are questions we need to ask. So these are part of the engagement that we have had.
Talking about what the people want, most of the time the people do not even have a means of reaching the government on what they want.
Yeah, well, that is why the media is there. The media is supposed to be the intermediary, and when they have the opportunity to interview the candidates, those are the questions they should be asking them. I mean, those are the things they should be telling them, that we've been to this community, the community has said this, what would you do about that? That way, the people have gotten across to there. And I think one of the suggestions that came from our engagement in the past few days is that even the Nigerian Union of Journalists in the state can actually use its position and authority to organize a debate for the candidates, because that brings them very closer to the media. And it's nothing new. In those states, the state NUJ will be organizing debate for the governorship candidates come this weekend, I think, maybe tomorrow or Sunday. So it's a best practice that they can copy. It's been done before, it was done in Rivers. There's nothing wrong.
Those debates have been held for potential candidates in Ondo State in the past, though sometimes the media is frustrated by the reluctance of individuals to feature on such debates, and there are no laws, enforcing such invitation. Or what do you think? The laws enforcing such invitations, maybe if there were, the media could be doing more in this interaction.
I agree, because election debates between candidates is very, very important. It is one mechanism, for voters to be able to assess the quality of candidates and to be able to access quality information, so that they'll be able to make informed decisions on election day. It's very, very important. I know that in Nigeria efforts are ongoing to see how we can put this as part of the legislation, part of the electoral framework going forward, so that in every election, whether it's presidential, whether it's governorship, like the one that's upcoming, candidates will make themselves available, to participate in such activities. We recommend it very, very strongly, and we are for it, and we are hoping, that if our colleagues here in Ondo State push very well, interact very well with the candidates, it could happen, this time. I'm really optimistic.
All right, Dr. Akinbulu, let me also ask you this. That with time, since the commencement of this current democracy since 1999, Nigerians were very hopeful at the inception that we'll be having a robust time, we'll be having dividends of democracy and all that, but along the line, Nigerians are becoming unmotivated, are becoming cynical about democracy and its ability to deliver on the campaign promises. So you can see this in the turnout sometimes during election. How do you think the media can steer voters out of their political apathy?
Thank you very much. This was one of the key issues, that we engaged at the interactions that we had, over the past 3 days. Issue of voter apathy, how to address it. We have seen that due to what you have said, due to the things that citizens have witnessed in previous elections, the signals or the signs are there, that many do not want to participate or participate actively, in the elections going forward. But then it is part of the duty of the media to say to citizens that democracy or building democracy is not a 100-meter dash. It is a marathon. It's a work in progress. The one we're building Nigeria, the democracy is work in progress. At every point in time, we will experience gaps in the conduct of stakeholders, not just the election management body, other stakeholders. So what democracy building demands is that as we identify those gaps in the performance of stakeholders in the electoral process, we make efforts to take care of those gaps. And we have seen, in this situation, for example, the commitments that are expressed, by those stakeholders, and the interaction that we had, as my colleague Rugudadi just mentioned, the key stakeholder groups came to make commitments. INEC was there and they said to us, this time, the gaps, that citizens might have seen in the past will be taken care of, will be addressed. The security agencies said the same thing, everyone, that came there. So meaning, that we're going to have improved conduct of the elections.
All right.
So this means, that we should encourage our people. We don't want to see apathy in this. We want the figures, to come. We want people to come in large numbers to participate in this election. And if they do, I've been assured, that votes will count.
Yes, Mr. Romudade, some of the lapses in previous elections, because you've talked about lapses, so let's go there. Some of the lapses is the inability of people living with disabilities to actually actively participate in elections, maybe deliberately or just the fault in the system. So this time around, are there some ethics? Are there some codes that you're recommending to the media, to use as an instrument to enable the people living with disabilities to participate more in the election?
Yes, I think it's very important. I'm aware that INEC itself has a policy on persons with disability, and they've repeatedly stated their commitment to ensuring that they are well protected, provisions are made for them. And that's why one of the issues that came up in our conversation was the fact that we should get data on persons with disability in Ondo State, how many are they, what type of disabilities, so that the media can then in turn ask INEC questions as to what do you want to do about these people. Now for the other groups that you mentioned, the person with disability, the self-regulatory framework when it comes to media and elections is the Nigerian Media Code of Election Coverage. And what it recommends is that in the course of reporting the elections, the campaigns and everything, media houses should consciously reflect their views. And where they are standing as candidates, we should also give them visibility. I know that we don't have any women governorship candidates, no. I doubt if there is any person with disability that is running, but it's still a large community, and we want their issues to be promoted. So it's there in the code, and they are referred to as underrepresented groups, that the media must do everything to reflect their views.
Sorry for cutting into your thoughts. Now let's take a close look at some of the EU recommendations in respect to electoral arts and all that in the Nigerian Broadcasting Code for the election coverage. Do you think some of these things are practicable in the Nigerian political system?
Well, I don't know. Maybe Dr.
Okay.
Akingulu will
Yes,
speak
yes,
more
yes.
to that because
Yes, which issues, for example? Do you have specific ones in
No,
mind?
I do not have specific ones at the moment, but looking at
Okay, but I know you know that the EU recommendation that there are many, some specifically at the directed, at the media and institutions that maybe regulate the media.
yes.
For example, they think that the legal framework for the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) should be reformed. They are not happy, with the framework. That's the legislation that puts the body in place. For example, they want it to have independence so that it can better regulate the conduct of the media, including during the electoral process. They want it to be better funded. They want it to be better equipped, and those processes are ongoing. I also know, that at the level of the NBC itself is working hard, to review, to reform its code, the NBC code that about which is the major statutory instrument, for regulation. So they are working on improving all of that and gathering stakeholders' views, for the reform of that framework.
All right, just by way of rounding up, let's say the Ondo governorship election, as it knocks at the door, what is your charge or your advice of the political class, the electorate, and the media itself?
So for the political class, the political parties that have candidates in this election, and the candidates, they should open their doors to the media. They should communicate with the media what their issues are, and they should ensure the safety of journalists, because we have had experience where overzealous supporters of political parties attack journalists. The parties too should do more of voter and civic education. It's not INEC alone or NOAA or National Orientation Agency. They should educate their members on voting processes, how results will be declared, because ignorance sometimes leads to unnecessary tension. That would be my advice.
All right, thank you. I'll take that as your parting shot. So
Yeah,
from
thank you.
Dr. Akingulu,
Yes.
you've been to some states previously. You've been
Yeah.
to Bayelsa. I believe you must have been to
Imo,
Yes,
Kogi,
and all
Edo.
that. Are your experiences in all these states the same?
Well, they are not the same. They vary from place to place because the dynamics, the issues in the elections in each state, they are different. But one thing is common there, that the journalists in each of those places, are optimistic. They want to do a great job, covering those elections. They are resilient. Whatever odds, appear to be on their way, they want to overcome those odds and be able to provide credible coverage of the electoral process. That's something we are seeing, and we expect that will also happen here.
All right, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and at least for coming to have these engagements with the media. I believe that the concerned reporters and all that are better equipped on how to give the forthcoming election better coverage, and as well you're pushing for the protection of journalists as well. All right, the media is our key stakeholders in the institution of democracy. They are considered to be the fourth realm of the state, and so that is why this conversation is key, and we hope that we keep having this from time to time. All right, thank you very much. On the media engagements today, I've had with me Dr. Akingulu, Executive Director, Center for Media and Society. Thanks for coming, sir.
Thank you.
And
It's my pleasure.
also Mr. Larry Arugudade, Executive Director, International Press Center.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I wish you success as you move forward in your campaigns. My name is Folashade Ogido. Saying bye for now.